Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to Top Boxing, the channel you come to for the real deal. It's been a minute. So, CANELO CRAWFORD. I haven't made a post in a while and I haven't been really excited. I tend to do these things when I'm excited about a boxing match. And there's so many videos out there. Probably no one will see this one. And I normally do it making certain points about a video. I normally have my notes in front of me. But I decided to do this one on the fly. And this is post last press conference. I just watched it. I wanted to see the weigh-in before I even make a post. I think last time when I made Crawford Spence, I did it, I think the day before. And they're gonna tell you no one knew how this fight was gonna go with Spence. Go watch that. I called it on the dot, exactly what was going to happen. On the dot, exactly what Crawford was gonna do to Spence. And that's exactly what he did. They're gonna tell you no one called it, but Top Boxing called it. Okay? So this fight tomorrow, Saturday. Wow. First of all, I didn't think this fight was gonna happen. But happen it did, or it will, in a day or so. There's some music coming from the temple nearby. So, power. After watching the last press conference, I think the power is gonna be null. It's not gonna be the thing that makes this fight what it's going to be. It's not gonna be power. And I'm watching CANELO. He had on a black tank top. I'm watching his waistline. Canelo's gonna come in lighter than he normally does. I think a lot of it's gonna be how much does he weigh when he walked into that ring. I think it's gonna be a lot lighter than normal. So what does that tell us? I think it tells us he's gonna be more active. He's gonna be more active, especially in the first 6 rounds than he normally is. I think he took something from the Skull fight. No, he's gotta be light on his feet to be able to cut off the ring. So what does that mean for Crawford? I think Crawford is gonna have to get Canelo's attention in the first and second round right off the bat. Okay? He doesn't have to fight fire with fire necessarily right off the bat, because it takes Crawford a little while normally. Not that Canelo is a fast starter either, but it takes Crawford normally a few rounds to get. I don't think he'll have that luxury. He needs to get into that ring and need to stay warm doing Canelo's ring walk, which is gonna ice him. Canelo's gonna ice him before he walks out in the ring walk, trying to catch Crawford cold. So if I'm Crawford, I get in a good sweat in the locker room. I stay warm while I'm in there, because when the fight starts, it's gonna be fast and furious. Or at least Canelo's gonna try to make it that. That's my take when I looked at him to see how much. He's a little lighter than I saw him against, of course, Bivol was a higher rate. But he looks lighter, he looks like he's in good shape. He looks like he's good, but his foot to the pedal early. Now, at the back end of the fight, I think we'll see the same type of Canelo. That kind of runs out of gas a little bit. But that would mean that Crawford would have to last towards the latter part of the fight. He would have to, then again, he's moving up in weight. His legs, will he be able to have that kind of power in the latter part of the fight? So that tells me this fight is gonna take place between first round and the 9th round. I think we're lucky to go into the championship rounds. That's my take on it. I'm not saying one's gonna knock out each other. Which one's gonna knock out each other? That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. Because if anybody's a knockout artist lately, that's Crawford in this fight. Yeah, he didn't knock out Madrimov. Yeah, Canelo has a hell of a chin. But the strategy and the tactics is going to tell us, I think, who wins this fight in the first 3 rounds. It's going to be interesting. The only way I see Crawford getting knocked out is if Canelo starts punching in between. Then Crawford is at risk, right? If he stays disciplined and touch Canelo, not stay way outside the end of Canelo's a punch, but right inside Canelo's range. Like, for example, almost like forearm elbow positioning. You understand? Where Canelo's power is not fully extended towards the end of the punch. If he stays at the end of the punch, it could be a problem. And then again, Canelo has a good inside game as well. But so does Bud, but he's open to that left hook, okay, on the inside. I tend to see that because sometimes he just go like that and his whole side of his face is open because his arm then is like that because he just will lean back. So I'm kind of hesitant on him fighting in the inside too much. But you could do something about that. You could turn him. Keep turning him. And I think he'll be strong enough to push Canelo off. But if he doesn't have his respect in the first few rounds, it's going to become a problem. So I think power is no. The type of shape he's in, I think both men are in great shape. But I know Crawford tends to have the better battery, if you know what I mean. He tends to have the better battery. Yeah, you're going to say, well, maybe a 147, 154, arguable. But if you notice, Crawford was actually doing better against Madrimov in the latter part of the fight. Whether or not Madrimov was slowing down that upper body bob that he had, he did slow down a little bit. He did stop moving as much, so I think that had something to do with it. It also had something with Crawford picking it up at the end of the fight as well. So I would give the latter part of the fight to Crawford, hesitantly at 168, because I just don't know what his legs are going to feel like. If he starts moving way too much in the first part of the fight, I think that's no. So this fight is an intriguing situation between Canelo and Crawford, because we just don't know. So if you don't know, why would you choose any one fighter? You know, we talked about power, we talked about strength. I think Crawford is pretty strong. So is Canelo. So you see how difficult this fight is if you're really thinking logically. If you're emotional, that's something totally different. I hope you don't, I was going to put some money on this fight on Crawford, but everything tells me not to. So I'm not going to. But if I had to pick someone, based on what I've seen the weigh-in, I wish I had waited for the weigh-in, because I want to see what Canelo, I'm sure he's going to come in 168, but I'm looking at his body, his slim, I noticed Crawford was all covered up. They're saying the rumors about his shoulders are not true. I have to take him at face value for that. But I'm not saying probably anything you haven't heard. But here's the thing. Canelo knows how to lose. Okay? And I think if Bud, that doesn't move like Skull, chooses to move, I think it could present a lot of problems for him. I think it has to be something in between touch him, move, frustrate Canelo. I think that has to be the case. Make Canelo miss, make him pay, move. But don't overdo it, right? Keep it in the center of the ring as much as you can. Touch Canelo, body stabs, okay? Because Canelo, he has a hell of a chin. So I think if you want to touch him, you have to touch him to the body, touch him early, okay? This is what he's going to try to do to Crawford. He's going to try to go body hunting, okay? And if you Crawford, save your energy where you can. Sit there toe to toe with him at the middle of the ring. You don't overthrow. Make your punches count. Make him accurate enough for the judges to see that you're touching him. Okay? Don't get against the rope and don't play around. Sometimes Crawford likes to play around a little bit. Don't play around. You're gonna need some head movement. Canelo's gonna come with that. We're gonna see some of this Canelo in this fight. You're gonna see some of that Canelo in this fight, especially in the beginning, trying to play to the crowd a little bit, getting the crowd behind him. That's the other factor people are not talking about. I was just watching that last conference. It's gonna be a Canelo crowd. It's gonna be a Canelo crowd. And the way Crawford acted today at this last conference tells me that's not going to bother him. That's just going to fuel him, just like every other fight he's had. He's been the underdog. He's been the so-called dark horse since he was a child, so he's used to that. This is fuel to him. They're just gonna make it worse. Can he hurt Canelo? No, that's what most of you are here to tell. Yeah, I think he can hurt Canelo. Any punch that a fighter can't see can hurt him, right? Especially if you don't see it. So the answer to that question is yeah, any fighter can hurt any fighter, especially if you get hit hard enough and often enough and you don't see it. And that's what Crawford brings. And for Crawford, I just worry about him getting hit in between. It's something he too doesn't see. I just hope he doesn't get too overconfident too early, because I think he will have success. Now, if he stays disciplined enough, if he follows a game plan that Bomac puts up for him, I think he'll be successful. You might even see a draw if he goes to 12. You might even see a draw. Don't be surprised if you see a draw if you see this fight again. Okay. I'm not sure if it's a good enough fight and it ends up being a draw. You might see Canelo Crawford too. Just telling you, it's good business. Okay, it's good business. And both Turkey and Dana are businessmen. Okay, and the build-up for the next one will be even crazier. Okay, so nothing I haven't. You've heard all the legends speak. You've heard everyone say their piece on this fight. I'm just here to tell you that from Top Boxing, I'm picking Crawford by decision. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes the other way. Because Canelo's a hell of a fighter. I don't think he's the greatest Mexican fighter, but he's a hell of a fighter. He at least deserves that. Okay, he's fought quite a few people, and Crawford by decision. I know winning a decision against Canelo sounds crazy, but if he follows a game plan, he can actually do it. It's not up to us to figure out whether or not he can win by decision. Okay, he just has to go out there and do his job. So Crawford by decision. You know why? Because he doesn't know how to lose. And Canelo does. When all is 50-50, I have to give it to the guy that doesn't know how to lose, that has that chip on his shoulder and wants to win more than anything. Stop boxing. Thanks for tuning in.